Welcome to City and State. I'm Editorial Director Michael Johnson. I'm joined today by Gary LaBarbera, the President of the Building and Construction Trades Council of Greater New York. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
And we wanted to bring you in because there's an ad campaign running across the city against you guys that's headed up by the Richard Berman and his organization, the Center for Union Facts. And there was a story in the Daily News about this. There's been a lot of attention raised about this kind of fight, and I think it's symptomatic of what we're seeing as a larger fight that we've seen for many years now between unions or in people who are opposed to unions. So first off, if you could just respond to this ad, some of the specific claims are targeting this idea that there's a racial disparity in pay amongst unions. So respond to that
Sure.
quickly first.
Well, as I've stated before, I mean, that is just factually not correct. The collective bargaining agreements that we have in the building trades with employers set and establish rates of pay. So it doesn't matter whether you are white, black, Hispanic, female, whatever your category is, a first year, second year, third year apprentice, fourth year apprentice, journeyman or journeywoman, the rate of pay is absolutely equal. So there is no disparity between race or gender in terms of rates of pay. So, we categorically, disagree with that concept.
And to this larger, I guess, concept, whenever you have kind of ads that run, we know this, and whenever negative ads run, you have to spend money to respond, you have to do things to respond to it, and a lot of times it spirals kind of downward, and kind of everyone comes out mucky in the end of it. So what are you doing to kind of prevent that from happening, per se?
Well, I mean, listen, the reality is, in terms of this ad campaign, I mean, I can tell you that from the people that I've spoken to, both in the public and in government, it really is having the opposite effect that I think the Center for Union Facts and who's ever supporting this campaign, it's actually having the opposite effect that I think they anticipated. The building trades in New York City is an institution that's been around 100 years. We have very, very good relationships with elected officials and community groups. And quite frankly, over the last several years, we've demonstrated both to elected officials and to community groups our commitment to diversity within the Building Trades Council. And the numbers that we have, prove that. We have a very high, over 65% of apprentices that come in are minority. We did a sampling just a few weeks ago of about a third of the building trades unions, which represent 35,000 members, which is, I think, a very good benchmark. And these are trades that are from both very highly skilled trades as well as, trades that have less skill. Although I will say that all trades require skill and training, and the numbers were at 35,000 unionized construction workers. Over 18,000 were actually minority, which I think it was even quoted in the Daily News, as you mentioned. That's 51%. So anyone that's going to argue that the building trades is not diverse and does not represent minorities in terms of demographics within the unions, it's just factually not true. So actually, because of what we've been able to demonstrate in New York City with, as I said, with the council members and with community organizations, they see these ads, as falsehoods. They know what we've done. Outside entities that want to come in, really don't know the details on how hard we've worked as a Building Trades Council to advance the interests of minorities within the building trades. And I think it's very evident by the reaction that we're getting. We're getting more, actually, support over the issue from the people that matter, the decision makers, than condemnation or criticism. Interesting.
I know that, I've been covering politics for more than 10 years now, and I feel like I've seen this shift where, it started to happen right when I first started covering politics that, unions were supported to some level, especially in New York, by both Republicans and Democrats. The country's become increasingly more polarized. It seems like that the thoughts or opinions of unions have also become polarized in the sense of that it's become polarized on party lines where it wasn't before. Do you feel like that's happening, and do you feel like there are still Republican allies for?
Well, I will tell you that certainly within the building trades, both here in New York City and nationally, we are, I would say, we take the view that may be somewhat different from other national or international union organizations, that we support those who support our issues. So, in many ways, we're bipartisan. We have some terrific Republican allies here in New York, both in the state legislature as well in Congress, and we have obviously very strong relationships with our Democratic allies. But I mean, look, we work together with anyone, and the reality is that our view here in New York City is we're going to support those candidates that support our issues, and our issues are really working people's issues, and moving working people into a middle class is what built this country, which made this country great. And I firmly believe, and have for my entire adult life, that it's the union movement that has provided a strong middle class. So any elected official, like I say, federal, state, city, that supports our issues and stands up for working people, those are the officials and electeds that we'll support.
Gotcha. Do you feel like you're getting painted with the same brush, maybe, though, that like your union, while you have maybe a different focus, that unions on large are being more aligned with Democrats and be kind of pushed into that gap there?
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely happening. That's a perception, and in terms of that, unions are being aligned, and there are party lines that are drawn. Look, the far right in this country don't want to see any unions. It's like the Great Gatsby. They want extreme wealth, and they want everyone else to live in poverty, and that's a problem. That is not. I just want to say that is not what made America what it is today. And when we see the breakdown and the attack from the far right on middle-class America and unions as well, I see it as an attack on the very stability and the very foundation of what a great America is. So, I mean, it's become, I will say, it's become very visceral and very polarized, I think, more now than ever. But I will also say, at the same time, that I can tell you that the labor movement as a whole, and certainly here in the New York City building trades, we're more committed than ever to stand up for working people's rights and to stand up for good wages and good benefits and retirement security. And we will continue to do that. And we will continue to strive forward to keep a strong middle class in this city and on a national level, a strong middle class in this country.
Gary LaBarbera, President of the Building and Construction Trades Council of Greater New York, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.